It's 3:15, and that means it's time for...
The Real Deal with Bill McNeil.
That's right. Welcome once again to The Real Deal with Bill McNeil. I'm your host, Bill McNeil, and you're probably wondering exactly what is The Real Deal today.
Hey, good question.
Welcome back to Thinking Critical. This is Wes. This is a day I knew would be coming. It's the day I've dreaded. Hellions is being canceled. I'm going to have to talk about that. We've got some other major news from Marvel Comics. We've got the return of the Old Man Universe with a new name. We also have some new information regarding Devil's Reign, the Chip Zdarsky, Marco Cicchetto Daredevil kind of crossover event that's going to be happening at the end of the year and into 2022. And we've also got some major delays to talk about. I guess we'll just get to the bad news. I have been pushing Hellions as the best ongoing title at Marvel for a few months now. I think it's surpassed Daredevil probably 3 or 4 months ago. It's just the constant quality that you get from Zeb Wells and Steven Segovia is unmatched at Marvel right now. It's been absolutely fantastic. I never wanted it to end. It's the good Suicide Squad. Although I'm told Suicide Squad at DC right now is good. I'm going to go check it out because my good friend Drew from Comics Elite told me to. Well, he didn't tell me to. He recommended it. And I'm going to take him up on that. But if you like Suicide Squad and you like mutants and you want them together, I mean, it does not get any better than Hellions. It's been absolutely fantastic. The quality is there every single week. Even when Zeb Wells was forced to incorporate Hellions into Dead in the Water, Ten of Swords, it was entertaining and interesting. And at least it even incorporated a couple of elements that got us back to House of X Powers of 10. That's how we got back to Chimera, was with Tarn the Undying, whatever he's called. The weird god mutant that looks like a character from Star Wars. Even when he had to incorporate Hellions into one of the most frivolous, wasteful, lame-ass events in Marvel Comics history, the Hellfire Gala, he made it funny. He was like, hey, you give me chicken shit, I'm going to give you a warm, heaping serving of chicken salad on fucking rye bread because I'm that good. So my, salute to Zeb Wells for taking some situations that most writers, we saw what was happening over within the X-Men line with those two events. Most writers succumbed to the pressure and did not deliver. He absolutely delivered and then some. He's done a fantastic job. I knew that it would be canceled because there are too many X-Men books, unfortunately. And, Hellions isn't one of those premier titles. It's, and you look at the characters, the premier character, I guess, would be Mister Sinister. You also have Psylocke and, Alex. But it's not a lot of big-name characters. But that's really what made the book great, was because Zeb Wells could do whatever the fuck he wanted. And he wasn't encumbered by the rest of the X-Men line. And even when he was and he had to do some events, he made it good. So in December with issue 18, that will be the end of the road. We're going to have to all pour one out for Zeb Wells and Hellions and Steven Segovia, and definitely shout out for a job well done. Now, this will be the reintroduction, I guess permanently, of Madelyne Pryor. And, they're kind of teasing, is she going to be friend or foe? Is she coming back as a good guy or bad guy? If you remember, she died not all that long ago, I believe, at the hands of Alex and Psylocke. And the Krakoan Quiet Council refused to resurrect her because she is, in fact, a clone, which is somehow against their protocols. But she is returning. In what capacity, we're not sure, but Zeb Wells has said she will be sticking around. This is what Zeb Wells stated in the Marvel announcement of the cancellation. Hellions may be coming to an end, but our team of outcasts are going to leave their mark on the way out the door. This includes bringing back one of my favorite characters, Madelyne Pryor, and take it from me, this is only the beginning for our queen. Fantastic. Madelyne Pryor is an interesting character. I'm glad she's coming back. It certainly will conflict Alex and the rest of the Marvel Universe. Well, the X-Men universe, at least. But it's still, it's a sad day. I saw Jerry Duggan out there trying to spin. He's like, we only ever planned it for be 18 issues. Jerry Duggan, you had no fingers in any of the planning of any of this. You know how I know? Because this is good. It doesn't suck ass. If it sucked ass, I'll be like, hey, I think Jerry Duggan's, been stirring the ingredients on this one. He fucked it up. So whatever you say, Jerry Duggan, if this thing was selling like gangbusters and was over like 50,000 an issue, it wouldn't be canceled. They'd probably let it go on. The good news for Zeb Wells is he has been called the head writer of Batman Beyond for Spider-Man Beyond. He's like the head guy on the Spider-Man Beyond board, which is taking over obviously in December at the end of Nick Spencer's Amazing Spider-Man run. Who else is in there? We got Kelly Thompson, Cody Ziegler. Who else we got in there? Saladin Ahmed. There's another one I'm forgetting. Oh, Patrick Gleason. He's the other one. Excuse me 1 second. My son's watch is barking at me. So congratulations to Zeb Wells in being the head writer for the Spider-Man Beyond board. And hopefully, my only hope in this is that he's being rewarded for a job very well done on Hellions, and hopefully he'll be the permanent Spider-Man writer to replace Nick Spencer when Spider-Man reboots to issue number 1 to celebrate another anniversary, so they can bend you over and remove $15 out of your wallet, whatever ridiculous price they're going to charge for that. So it's a sad day. I'm not happy that Hellions is canceled, but I am happy that, hey, the series is going to end on a high note because it never got bad. It's been fantastic from beginning to end, and I wish Marvel had room for a series like this to actually take off. But when you're flooding the shelf with a bunch of shitty versions of great characters, a series with lesser known characters like Hellions is just never going to find the room to grow, unfortunately. You can only talk about how great it is so often on a channel of this size. I imagine a lot of the viewers ended up checking it out, but we just need more, I guess, unfortunately. Now, continuing on with the Marvel news, we are returning to the Old Man universe, also known as the Wasteland, the alternate future post-apocalyptic environment inhabited by Old Man Logan, for a series of 5 one-shots focusing on characters around the Wasteland, as well as introducing a new version of Black Widow. This is going to be running weekly through December. The 5 one-shots focus on Wolverine, Hawkeye, Doctor Doom, Peter Quill, and the new Black Widow, whose identity remains a mystery. And it is going to be a 5-issue release month for December, which will make it kind of interesting because typically for like the last 2 weeks of the month, things get really, really slow. I wonder what they're going to do since there's actually an extra week because, it's obviously a big holiday. So on December 1st will be Wastelanders Wolverine number 1, undoubtedly the one that will sell the most and probably is the most anticipated, as we have Wolverine, Old Man Logan, returning to the Wasteland. This is from Stephen DeKnight. You may remember him as I believe he was the showrunner for Daredevil on Netflix, with artist Ibrahim Mustafa. And this will tell a new tale of Old Man Logan set after the events of the original story. In the tale, Logan finds himself as the guardian of a baby Hulk against a new adamantium armor-clad villain known as Downfall. Damn, that sounds regrettably familiar, as in the Mandalorian plot. Instead of Baby Yoda, we get Baby Hulk. Hopefully they have plush dolls ready. Although, who are we kidding? If this was a cartoon or like something on Disney Plus, they probably need that. But because it is a comic book, they will not hardly market it at all. And most people won't even realize Baby Hulk exists until they adapt it into a movie. On December 8th, writer Ethan Sachs teams with Ibram Roberson for Wastelanders Hawkeye number 1, which bears the Archer, now blind. If you read Old Man Hawkeye, you would know that. Also from Ethan Sachs. It's absolutely fantastic. That's the first comic I really noticed. Marco Cicchetto, I know he did some earlier work, but Marco Cicchetto's badass. That's where I discovered him. And the Old Man Hawkeye series is absolutely fantastic. So he's blind now, and he's teamed with Matt Murdock, the other blind hero, as Daredevil. So you got 2 blind heroes trying to make it out in the wastelands. The cover on this thing looks absolutely fantastic. They've got all the covers for these. Some of them look better than others. The one for Old Man Hawkeye, this Wastelanders Hawkeye number 1, just looks fantastic. This is a must read for me. I'll be reading the Wolverine one as well. But Ethan Sachs, I'm not the biggest fan in the world. I thought he was going to be the next guy at Marvel Comics. It turns out he is not the one. Hopefully he can return to some good storytelling in this one. I'm going to say, Lead Pipe Lock. This will be the best one, even though more people will read Wolverine. On December 15th, we get Wastelanders Star-Lord #1 from Rich Duke and artist Brent Peoples, bringing Peter Quill back. Oh my goodness, this is stupid. Where are you? There you go. From the space to discover his timelines, Earth laid to waste, seeking out a mystery around his lost lover. There was an Old Man Quill, which was also from Ethan Sachs. That was when I first realized that maybe he can only write Old Man Hawkeye stories, and it absolutely sucks. So I don't know really much about this writer. I know this is his first work at Marvel. I'm probably going to be skipping this one. On December 22nd, we get Wastelanders Doom #1 from Torrin Gronbeck and artist Julius Ota, in which Dr. Doom, who helped Marvel's villains create the wasteland over which he now partially rules, begins to question his role in the world he helped make. I'm going to be honest. That description sounds really, really lame. But it is a Dr. Doom in the Wasteland comic book. And I don't know who Torrin Grunbeck is, but I'm going to give him a chance because it's Dr. Doom. But if it's really him, like, learning something about himself, I'm gonna feel violated. Like, why did you make me spend money on something this stupid? I want to see Dr. Doom embracing his villainy and in loving the wasteland that he created. Huh? On December 29th, we get the final issue, and that is going to be Wastelanders Black Widow #1, introducing the new Wastelanders version of the Super Spy. The classic Black Widow was killed at the onset of Old Man Logan, but a new version of Black Widow will debut in the future setting. From the look of accompanying art, she may even be a version of Natasha Romanoff's successor as Black Widow, Yelena Belova. I do not see the creators on this one. This is probably like, if I had to guess, I would say this is a Kelly Thompson book, which means I probably won't read it. Not all that interested in the Black Widow, to be honest. That's that. I'm going to be reading Wastelanders Wolverine, Wastelanders Hawkeye, and Wastelanders Doom. Now let's get into Devil's Raid update. A new iteration of the Thunderbolts are being introduced into the Marvel 616 as they emerge to bring a world of pain to Marvel's heroes at the onset of Devil's Raid, at the new event spinning out of Marco Cicchetto and Chip Zdarsky's Daredevil. The group is consisted of Crossbones, Kraven, Taskmaster, Typhoid Mary, Rhino, Shocker, and Whiplash. And they will be debuting in Devil's Raid #2. And they are going to be under the command of Kingpin, also known as Wilson Fisk. Is she going to be Typhoid Mary Fisk? Aren't they supposed to be getting married? I don't think that marriage is going to happen. And he continues to rule over New York as its mayor and is on a mission to purge the Marvel 616 of superheroes. And this is going to launch on December 1st with Devil's Raid #1, followed by Devil's Raid #2 on December 15th. And the events of the first two issues will tie into Spider-Woman 18, which releases on December 29th. It's also going to tie into multiple ongoing series. We've seen Spider-Man and some other characters like that on the cover. I wonder if we'll get some one-shots. I don't think this will tie into Spider-Man Beyond because they will just be setting up all those events. And there you go. Carla Pacheco, the writer of Spider-Woman, has declared that this event is spectacular. Given that it's written by written by Chip Zdarsky, illustrated by Marco Cicchetto, there's a very good chance it is spectacular. They are the best creative duo at Marvel at the moment, in my opinion. I'm glad that they're sticking together. I think Chip Zdarsky's run on Daredevil has been very, very strong. It has petered out lately. It's gotten quite boring and repetitive as Matt Murdock has been in prison far too long, and he's very self-deprecating. I get that he has a guilty conscience, but I do think they've taken a little bit too far to allow Electric to grow into the role as the new Daredevil. On his Substack newsletter, Chip Zdarsky did lay out like all the stuff he was working on, and it appears that when Daredevil returns, that it will have a new title. So this is going to continue after Devil's Reign, but it sounds like it's going to have a new title. My two guesses would be Daredevils, with Matt Murdock and Elektra as the titular Daredevils, or Daredevil Woman Without Fear with Elektra as the main character after Matt Murdock has likely been killed off. We know they're killing off Doctor Strange, they killed off Wanda, and it looks like they're killing off Peter Parker. So it would not be surprising and would kind of be par for the course right now. Those are my thoughts on Devil's Reign as far as the updates. I hope you're looking forward to it. It's something I will definitely be covering here on the channel, and I'm actually excited for it. Now let's get into these major delays. Okay, one of them is a major delay, and the other one is a delay. So Venom, the new series from Al Ewing and Brian Hitch, Marvel has informed retailers via its new distribution company, Penguin Random House, that the upcoming relaunch has been delayed. The first 2 issues have been delayed 2 weeks each, meaning Venom number 1 now goes on sale October 27th, and Venom number 2 is now on sale November 24th. And according to a recent press release, Marvel intends for Venom to arrive in December. Interesting enough, Brian Hitch did tweet in July that he finished drawing the 42-page Venom number 1. So this has been complete for about 2 months now, and he said he was working on the second issue later that month. We do know that Brian Hitch is a very efficient artist and is likely even finished that second issue by now because he's fast. Now, what could this mean? That means maybe he got some of the visuals wrong and had to redraw them, or maybe they're having issues with distribution as far as the product. We know that there's a paper shortage. Paper costs more, especially if you're coming from overseas. There's been a lot of delays. Could be any of those things. They could have just needed to rearrange the release schedule and maybe space out a lot of these big releases, because they have absolutely loaded up the release schedule for Penguin Random House taking over as the new distributor next month. Marvel has framed the new Venom series as 2 related storylines. We know that it's only going to be Al Ewing is also going to be Ram V, who I think is a superior writer. But we are going to see one story is going to be Eddie Brock's son Dylan taking up the mantle of Venom on Earth. That's going to be written by Ram V. And the other is going to be Eddie Brock as he ascends to the cosmic side of things as the newly christened King in Black. And that will be written by Al Ewing. I'm just glad they didn't make it 2 different titles. That would have been a very, very Marvel thing to do. The final delay is Luke Cage, City on Fire. And has actually been delayed 2 months. The 3-issue series was originally supposed to come out on October 27th. It has now been pushed back to December 29th. Marvel has not given a reason for the delay. However, the postponement comes after scheduling issues became apparent when the second issue was not solicited in November. And Marvel still has the entire collection solicited for release in April 19th. So likely we'll have it by then. And it feels like they still think they can meet those deadlines. Luke Cage, City on Fire is my lead pipe lock for worst comic, biggest dumpster fire, baby, of 2021. We'll see if it's worse than that last issue of X Factor. I think it might be, but I almost guarantee this thing is going to be a shitstorm. That's going to be a terrible comic, likely to be covered right here on the channel. I've got a feeling. I hope that Hoche Anderson proves me wrong, and I have to come on here and eat a little crow and talk about how great it is. I don't see that happening. That is your Marvel news for the day. Unfortunately, Hellions is being canceled at issue number 18. We are returning to the Old Man universe in a series of one-shots called Wastelanders. It also ties into some type of stupid podcast. If you like that podcast, I'm sorry, I just called your entertainment stupid. But that's what I got an update for the Daredevil Devil's Reign event, and there's also delays for the upcoming Venom and Luke Cage City on Fire events. So that's your Marvel update. Expect to see the Marvel solicitations coming out on Thursday or Friday, and have a Marvel solicitations video up on Sunday or Monday covering it all, where I cover all the stuff I'm going to read, make fun of the stuff that I think looks stupid, and definitely bemoan how expensive comic books are now.